So when you're drafting, obviously there's a million things in your head of things you want to either counter or maybe even try to bait the enemy team into picking. Now, this mechanic is somewhat new in the grand scheme of things, which is we have two healers, kind of, right? Undying and the Monkey King. Do you think this mechanic of HP degen, what is it actually called? Where it limits your
HP
your healing.
regen reduction, I think.
Yeah, it's a terrible name, whatever it is.
Okay.
Like, when does that start entering your mind? Like, oh, we could actually pick something that ruins that aspect of the game. Is it to a point where if there's like two big healers on the team, does that ever enter your mind? Is that just an itemization thing?
Well, I've seen people. I don't mean to speak for Jenkins, but I would feel Alchemist enters that category, right? And why you've seen people eliminate the likes of AA and such, where those heavy sustain type heroes. But there are others.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Like when heroes are based on it, sure. But if it's if it's something like Undying Monkey King, I've never really heard anybody be like, oh, we can do HP regen reduction. I think it's more so like in the game, you're more likely to itemize for like the Shivas, the Scotties, things like that against heroes like this. Even a hero like Tide, who's like going to build into the Greaves and Pipe and have a lot of HP regen, it can be nice to have these items against him.
10 seconds remaining.
So how do we feel about the potential Tide versus Jug lane matchup here? I mean, looking at what Sadboys have, it doesn't seem like there's a lot that they could do to stop a spin TP, so feels like the Jug pick's pretty nice here from 5ManMidas.
Yeah, I like the Jug. I think there's a lot of supports you have to ban now if you're Sadboys. Like, if you're Tide in this lane, you're worried about like a CM, you're worried about like a Shadow Shaman, anything that can just disable you while Jug spins on you. And there's a lot of those. Like Lich would be a pain in the ass. Like a Grimstroke would be decent. Then again, you can't just have the Veno. That's a Shu classic as well. He plays that. Then actually, it's almost certainly going to be a Shu Veno. Just Gale into Jug spin. I think I've seen them do this exact combo before. So I think we're looking for an offlaner for Monster for 5ManMidas.
At what point does Kraken Shell dispel that level 1? It's like 600 damage or something
600
like that?
damage, yeah. You're dead.
So you're
dead.
You're almost dead at that point. I mean, that's an old tried and true combo. That's a good pub classic, the Venom Jug.
Yeah.
Now that CM is just dead in the water, doesn't exist anymore, it seems, unless there's a Enchantress or something on the other team.
So this looks pretty nice then, because Sadboys are holding out for what looks like their safe lane pickup potentially. And we don't even know yet what 5ManMidas are potentially putting in the off lane to match up against it.
They do pick first, I believe, right? Yeah, it goes back. So 5ManMidas is going to have to pick, which means Sadboys has this flex. So I think we actually heard PBD himself talk about this sort of thing, where you have this like flexibility where if 5ManMidas picks some like ownage offlaner that like dumpsters a Monkey King, well then they just flex it to mid. I think he actually he specifically criticized. I don't know if it was 5ManMidas or A Team. I think it was A Team. Criticized A Team for not flexing the Monkey King. Or no, it was Black and Yellow. Sorry,
Black and Yellow. Yeah, you're right.
Rio on the SF. Yeah. He was like, they should run the Monkey King mid. But you ask your mid player what they want, they ask for an SF. Yeah. Classic PPD.
I mean, the way to counter that is to pick an even more flexible lineup on the other side, which I don't know if they've done necessarily. I mean, Veno can play technically multiple positions. Puck can technically as well. We've been seeing it almost primarily mid.
Yeah.
Earth Spirit as well could be mid. Technically speaking. I don't know if these players play it.
10 seconds.
Yeah.
So depending on like how flexible they are as players themselves,
what about like
that could come into play.
It's hard, because you could think of an offlane option, but Sadboys have the control now to pick something good against it. Because I was like, Darkseer, we never see, but he may be good actually in this game.
Batrider's still in the pool? Are you kidding me?
Oh, you're right. Batrider's still out there too.
Are you joshing? Are you joshing me hard here?
I mean, they have Tidehunter, but I mean it's only Tidehunter to really stop the bat.
Dude, Bat just makes Monkey's game unplayable. Okay, so they go with the Mars. They go with the.
I was gonna say they don't have any like beef.
They don't. Line. That's true.
Without Mars.
I mean, this hero's like lane countered by Tide and Monkey King though. So like, neither of these heroes would struggle against a Mars, which means like Sadboys has such. They can do almost anything with this last pick here, and they know it's going to be fine. They can just pick whatever they need to win the game.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm a little nervous about the Mars, because even in fights, you're jumping down your arena, and that just kind of shows to Sadboys. If they're not caught already in the arena, I mean, Tide knows where to unleash his Ravage, Monkey King knows where to
as well,
unleash his Wukong
Tombstone
command.
as well. You just
Yeah, it's like, there's the fight, boys. Put everything where you want, right around the arena, because that's where they are. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so they go with
Now select
like the hard cheese like win condition last pick, and there's really
Can
not
they
much
flex? On 5ManMidas, I don't think there's any more room to flex with the Mars pick, right? Yeah, Shoes already grabbed Venomancer. So, all right, now that we've seen the full 10 picks here, gentlemen, real quick, digest it, spit it out, give me your prediction. Sunsfan, I start with you.
I think even if I hadn't seen the teams, like I just see the lineup, I would still pick Sadboys lineup. I'm just not a fan of Mars anymore. Mars just feels super underwhelming. I feel like he has to, like, his biggest strength in the early stage is his laning, but he's gonna get crushed no matter what lane he goes to. So it'll be a tough one. I think Sadboys will take this.
Jenkins?
Yeah, I think Sadboys will take it too. I don't think there's much to deal with the Alk, but 5ManMidas does have a fast lineup. If they can, like, clutch out the laning stage, they could possibly win. But it's it requires them to lane it exceptionally well. So I'm gonna go with Sadboys.
All right, that's what the panel has to say. Let's go ahead and fire into a real fast break. But when we return, we've got Lyrical and GoDz on the mic to bring you the coverage.
Welcome back, all you Dota fans out there. We got a wonderful set of games for you today, and GoDz, it's already starting off right now. Sadboys facing off against 5ManMidas. The panel felt like that was a backbreaker of a draft. What are you feeling? You digging the Sadboys picks?
I think they went pretty stable, which is what you want to do when you're kind of the favorites. Don't do anything that's too experimental. Just pick to your comfort zone. I think for Sadboys, it's also important, they got to play play kind of for the long term, where they don't want to reveal too much if they do have any kind of secrets, because they are going to be versing stronger opponents down the line. But definitely not a matchup they can take too easily.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, they can play Alchemist. Oh my goodness, it's so unbelievable. But yeah, it's not something that you expect. Wow, pretty much the same draft when they're going up against A teams. They've got sort of a bottom barrel stomper pick as Monster gets gone on right at the start. Can they bring him down? Yes, Moo gets the kill, although Lies doing a ton of damage with that Blade Fury. Already a hell of a lot of damage being thrown out as Lies getting chased, almost going down, but he does manage to escape.
They haven't had the Battle Strike in 7 seconds. Oh, they've got the Venom for sure. Well, I say for sure, but we'll see.
Yeah, man.
Just kidding.
Okay. EPD walks back in. Yeah, where is everybody bottom? Because Ixter just finds the kill onto Fear.
Mars is like, those are my bounty runes.
Oh, wait a minute. Ixter's going to get this one as well. So that looks like it's going to be 5ManMidas picking up 3 runes for 1. Not bad.
I tell you, these underdog teams with their 5-man smoke plays at level 1, we're seeing it a lot, and they're working a lot. It makes me wonder, like, why aren't the EGs, the Quincy crews and stuff doing these kind of plays? Because they often lead to a kill or two. They often lead to getting multiple bounty runes, and that's a good start for 5ManMidas.
Totally. Yeah, it's interesting, right? Like, I think that everybody just sort of anticipates that, okay, these teams are just going to get stomped. They're not going to have a chances. Actually, RRL is brought down really low in the mid lane. Has to bring out a salve for himself. But I think that there's something to be said for, like, when you have a lot of different eyes looking at Dota and trying to figure it out, there's going to be, like, more rapid development of, interesting ideas like that early smoke rotation.
Yep. Puts him in a decent spot, but it does look like mid lane is going to be tough for Puck, and this is definitely one of the strengths of this early Monkey King pick, is the ability to flex it to these other lanes. So even when Monkey King didn't have a bad lane in the safe lane, they just recognize there's nothing to pressure the Alchemist. This Alchemist pick, I think, is really clever, just because 5ManMidas don't really have a very fast tempo draft.
Yeah, and so many heroes. The Snaking is just going to TP away up top, managing to get back to base. It's interesting, right? Because it feels like it counters so many of their different heroes. Like, Veno's going to do nothing. Puck doesn't really have the damage. Like, it feels like it's going to maybe come down to just Jug being huge to deal with the Alk.
Absolutely agreed. And it's like, how do you keep up with an Alk? If this Alk doesn't get pressured early, Jug's going to be really far behind. So he has got a Battle Fury queued up, not going for any kind of pseudo-farming Maelstrom. He just wants the full hard carry late-game scaling that the Battle Fury provides early on.
Okay. We'll see if it works out. It doesn't feel like there's that many other options, and then it's going to be down to, what can these other heroes do in the meantime?
Really what matters more is going to be what happens in the you know, the time he's farming up towards the Battle Fury. They need to at least stay even on gold. They can't afford to fall behind. They need to pressure the Alk if they're stacked. So definitely keep an eye out for Sadboys around that kind of 10-minute mark, trying to set up Alk for success by just stacking their whole jungle.
Okay. Well, keep our eyes on that one. If there's a quick little runaway that happens from PPD, we'll keep our eyes on it. In the meantime, we keep on getting these pulls back coming from Ikester. He's trying to draw the creep wave away, at least whenever he can, and do some cutoffs, it looks like. As Monster's going to throw out that spear onto Fear. Missed the pull that time.
So far this lane stage, not looking too good for 5ManMidas. Top 3 CS all on the Radiant side. And this is an area in that pre-game interview they talked about. They felt like the laning stage was their strength. They go even or ahead on laning stage, but the problem here is more just the picks and draft hasn't been for the lanes. Mid lane, RL just gets solo killed by DNM. I'm just watching this, I'm like, I think he's going to die, and he just took too many right clicks and orbed aggressively for a creep, rather than saving the orb.
Yeah, and the phase shift being used, I mean, you kind of had to save that one, but if you save it, you're dead anyways. But yeah, I think the orb just being down is what you're talking about. That orb of venom from Monkey King coming into play. So a really rough start to the laning stage right now for 5ManMidas as they're behind in all 3 CS and then also lose a kill.
Snake King's doing a good job pressuring top. Like that spin where he TP'd out really helps the lane because you're just forcing them to chew through their mana and regen, then you come back to lane with more regen. So they're just kind of winning the war of attrition up top.
And they're gonna find Shu in the jungle yet again. Snake King chasing him down, forcing him back, and also got the courier kill for all he's worth.
He doesn't have much mana. Yeah. There's a regen rune. Looks like Puck is going to orb his way over there.
Dude, DNM is not afraid at all. He's like really not tripping.
Yeah, I don't think they can fight him. Even with 2 heroes there, if they fight him, they just give him free Jingu. He gets the Jingu, he hits a 2-hero boundless strike, and he's full health. So you can't win that 1v2. I think Earth Spirit, it's good that he secures the rune. If Monkey King got like a double damage or something, it would have been a disaster. But ultimately, he probably shouldn't be playing around this mid lane at this stage.
No, I'm very impressed with DNM so far. Like, I think it's one thing to be like winning a lane, but it's another to sort of be oppressive like this and say like, you can't deal with me. I'm going to constantly be in your face and trying to mess with you. As top lane, a little bit of a roll in comes. They're able to find Snake King right at the start. That will be a kill. Moo, on the other hand, getting chased down a little bit here. We'll have another anchor smash. And he is a big tanky Tide Hunter. The Watermelon just going to walk away.
Yeah. This will lead to some bounty runes being picked up. It looks like 3 out of 4 again going to go 5ManMidas' way. So good timing from the move from Ikester. It looked like he was kind of unsure for the last 2 minutes which lane to play. He went mid, he went top, kind of sat around. Finally just went for a single smoke. He just smoked himself up, found a kill as the bounty rune spawned. So I like the play just because it secures the bounty runes.
And finding stuff whenever you can, really important here. They're coming back top again. There is a ward in the area, but it's not quite... the other one might have spotted the Earth Spirit, so they might know that he's here.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough kill.
Yeah, Moo is very tanky, and Snake King's just kind of going to be sitting behind him, so... While the Jug can look to spin through this, they look like they're waiting for the Jug's level 5.
Okay.
He didn't get it, though.
Well, pushes back.
Okay.
And,
they might
well,
no.
He's still got sick charges. They're bringing in the Monkey King now.
Yeah.
There's the Earth Spike, the chase down, and another Boundless Strike is available here as he hits onto Shu, hits onto Lies. DNM makes that big rotation, and they punish that heavy.
Yeah, really nice move. You'd expect the Puck to be the 2 heroes out of the mid laners to make the first kind of aggressive rotations, but DNM with such a good start is just like, well, I've now got multiple points in tree dance. I'm actually pretty mobile. He's just getting active. We'll get back to mid lane in time to defend his tower as well, which is much needed because of the siege creep coming.
Well played, definitely. And just doing a good job overall right now. I think Sadboys reading the temperature of the room. They are going to go into fear and try and make something happen here. Monster has the arena down. They bring in RL. If they could get this kill, it would be huge. The coil and the snap, and that's enough. Yeah. So 5ManMidas hanging on a little bit here with that level 6 rotation.
Yeah, Puck taking a page from DNM's book. Like, okay, these TP rotations, when there's no creep wave pressuring your tower, a great idea. You get a kill on a core, ideally, and then you just back off. So Jug dies, Alk dies, both teams losing their carry to a TP rotation from the mid laners. And similar to DNM, RL's back, no pressure on the mid tower, no damage taken. So good moves from both mid laners.
And you can see Fear, after losing his life, is just going to be like, all right, guys, I'm out of here. I'm heading back to the jungle. Aren't any stacks for him, though. And only sitting there with the Perseverance and a couple of stat-oriented items, he's not going to be farming the fastest in the world.
Yeah, it's not... finds a neutral item, but yeah, not the easiest time for him. He may just have to do some stacks for himself. This does give, PPD the safe lane to get some levels, but Undying's not that kind of like coddle or treant protector where you can really take advantage of having that safe lane to yourself. So I think if you're 5ManMidas, you're okay with this and you're not feeling like you have to go pressure the Alk right away.
Right. Ooh, that trusty shovel, though.
Yeah,
it's one of the better Alk ones.
Definitely nice. He's not going to hold it for himself, but just having it on an Alk team is always feels good.
True. Well,
and there are some stacks being built around the triangle now. It looks like Snaking's starting to do some of that, as DNM getting active once again. Knowing that his job as Monkey King isn't to play that traditional carry, it's his job to basically enable the Alk to carry the game. So he's going to be playing a very aggressive style of Monkey King. I wouldn't expect to see him go for any kind of like super late game scaling items necessarily. He's going to be looking to fight.
And this ward scouting out that rotation up there means that, you can get out, at least for the moment, on the Juggernaut. They're going to head down bottom, try and get a little bit of counter pressure going as they roll in. They find themselves PPD, and, well, they do have the chase down if they want it. They're TPing in with the Tide, actually, who has Ravage available, but won't be able to make anything happen there. They do keep their tower alive, though.
Yep, they're going to go in Monster.
Want to find that kill. Gushes out onto him, and I think that he just needs to sort of give up his life at this point. Maybe not. Maybe a chance to get away. No, DMM was there.
Yeah, DNM had the phase boot, so a lot of chase potential. And yeah, interesting call from Sadboys, making the TP response. Often teams will just be like, okay, they 4-man dove our bottom tier 1 to kill our 5 position, let's just let him die. But they get the counter kill, and they kill a core, so not a bad move, especially because Snaking just happily stays top, working on his level 6, so I think Sadboys just doing a really good job of making the most out of the resources available on the map, never committing too many heroes to one lane, making sure their supports get a little XP and farm, making sure that, the Alk is continuing to just free from the jungle, so just good resource management coming in from Sadboys.
And I guess anything that slows down the game a little bit too is really good for them. Like, not losing towers and getting the map shut down at all for Fear. Anything that just allows him to do whatever he wants, and this is what they want to be doing as well. And at least for now, it looks like they're going to be sticking Shu solo up top. Only 1 point in these Plague Wards, actually.
Yeah, that's free money for Alk. I'm not sure about summoning those Plague Wards when Alk is around.
Yeah. I might need to stop happening. We'll see if he stops it.
He farms a triple stack plus some Venom wards. Fear is, he's happy right now.
He's got his Battle Fury done. Last pro game on Alk was 2014. Wow.
Big Oss. That's a name you haven't heard in a while.
I don't know if I've ever heard that name. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, he's like an old school Dota 1 pro. He was like one of the most famous Dota 1 players, I would say. He was like, I don't know. He was like the Arteezy of Dota 1. Maybe not the Arteezy. He was more flashy.
Was he getting clipped too? Is that what I'm hearing here?
No.
All right, we got a little bit of a battle breaking out down bottom here. Monster drops down the arena, didn't manage to hit the spear afterwards, and is just going to try and run away, but I think that this guy is dead and everybody else is going to give him up for dead. We'll take him on a walk first, though. Slowest death ever.
Let's go spear. Buy some more time.
Nice. Nailed it.
Yeah. Force PPD to secure the kill, But, this Alk is definitely going to be concerning. It doesn't feel like Jug is kept up nearly well enough. They're trying to invade his triangle, but it feels like even if they smoke and kill him once, it just feels like the damage has already been done. Like, yeah, it's nice you still want to do that, don't get me wrong, but you've kind of already lost the far more against the Alk.
Right. Lies at this point doesn't have his Battle Fury done, and every minute that's going on subsequently, Fear is just going to be accelerating and farm like crazy. And at least for now, needing to sort of hold out hope, I guess, try and shut down map wherever you can and take down these tier 1 towers, but they're not going to give it too easy.
This is where the last pick was so good. It wasn't that they wanted to send the monkey mid, it was just that there was nothing to answer the Alchemist with the kind of slower pace of game we're seeing from 5ManMidas. It's all up to the puck to make these plays. Boots of Travel are up, so definitely expect RRL to kind of play a lane by himself and be ready to kind of TP somewhere else on the map. He wants to basically play... He wants his teammates to play as aggressively as possible, and that's what we're going to see now. They're going to go for a smoke move with 3 heroes.
And Lai's actually going to TP out of there just right at the last second up top. So there's a potential that they could find somebody here. If they can get Fear, who's behind the tier 1 tower, this would be huge. Oh, I don't know. He's leaving. He's heading to the triangle now.
Yep.
Looks like that smoke's going to fail.
Yeah, very hard to... Because this tier 1 mid tower is still up, it just makes it really hard. Like, ideally, if that tier 1 mid's there, they just go right into that enemy triangle, but the tier 1 mid just makes it so hard to take over the enemy side of the map. So really good job by Sadboys to keep this tower alive.
And this is Moo's job. He just sits here and you can't go on him. Like, it's impossible. I think that's part of the reason why it's so good holding onto that Ravage down bottom from Moo as well. Like, this just keeps that tower alive. Although they will lose the tower bottom as Lies takes that one out and DMN takes the top tower.
Yeah, that's the tower I think Sadboys just don't care as much about. They're also getting the trades up top. They're farming the enemy lane. They've taken the enemy top tier 1. So just prioritizing the middle and top side of the map as you generally see Radiant sides do. And we're going to see if these teams will clash over this mid lane. It does feel like 5ManMidas just need to try and force this mid tier 1 tower. They had the smoke kind of towards mid with the Venom. I would have liked to have seen them go for a tier 1 tower play. Like you say, the problem is just that it's mood. Do you really want to go on a tide and get 3-4-man Ravage potentially? Not really. I think you can only go on that mid tier 1 tower if you bring the Jug, because he's the one who can kill the tide with either Blade Fury or Omni Slash without being afraid of a Ravage.
Right. And even that, it's not like it's a guaranteed thing either. Like, you know, he's gone for this Battle Fury build. And granted, he does have some extra damage coming out from, you know, those 2 components, but
yeah,
it's not anything that, you know, Moo is terribly afraid of right now. Sitting at 7 armor as RL drops the coil as they chase him up top. Good jump away there in the jaunt, or rather the phase shift.
Did force him to waste the Dream Coil just to save his own life, however, and RL will farm some extra creeps before TPing out, but the move may be towards bottom lane where Snaking is just farming up below this tier 2 tower. They're going to TP and respond though.
Well, they're already going to lose 1, but the Ravage comes out afterwards.
He's alive,
Connect
Snaking.
onto 3. Is he actually going to live through the whole thing?
Oh, the last
Oh my
turn
god,
take.
just barely able to find that finish. So a 2 for 1 though, and losing the Jug is terrible.
Yeah, just Sadboys are ready for it. The Tide being the first to TP in, had the boots to travel, so easy Ravage for him. And yeah, Snanking's probably like, man, I was so close to living there.
Oh, where's your pipe Tide? Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Moo with a lot of farm and very high impact on this game without getting kills or pushing towers. It's just being this big, fat Tide blob. Just sits in front of a lane, and nobody wants to ever go lane against this Tide because of how tanky he is.
Well,
Top lane
chase
again,
down comes.
RL.
Get a couple quick punches in. Sees him in the trees. And no way to break that TP. So he will manage to escape.
A little bit too far away to connect on that one.
Well, speaking of the blob again, Moo is there, and there's not really a great way to pressure this one. I guess maybe with 2 points of healing ward? I don't know.
Yeah, they've realized they just have to bring the Jug in, which is, you know, the right idea, but it's also the wrong idea because you want this Jug to farm his Battle Fury. This Jug, the reason he hasn't come mid is he probably keeps telling his team, like, I gotta farm my Battle Fury. This Alp's free farming. The only way we can win is if I out carry him, but at the same time, I think the rest of the team is saying, we gotta take this mid tier 1 tower. If we don't do that, we have no chance, so... They find a compromise. Jug comes in, takes a tower, and he's back to farming. But yeah, realistically, Lies just has to get this Battle Fury up as soon as possible and just keep on farming.
And by the time that's done, I mean, Fear is already, what is this now? Like 5,000 gold ahead of the Jug. Like he is a whole item ahead. And
He's double his net worth. It's getting ugly.
And this is without that much battling going on. A 6,000 gold lead here at 16 minutes. A BKB now done for DNM2. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I talked about him just enabling the Alk and going for a fighting build, and it's a first item BKB of all items.
Yeah.
Totally okay with this. I don't think there's anything else he really needs. Doesn't need to go for the full carry item, so... They're looking to take this top tier 2 tower. I think they know, it's like we're doing really well. The Alk's free farm, and we're kind of stomping this game. Let's try and take a tier 2 tower before 20-minute marks. That's like the real beatdown when you can get the double outpost.
Right.
But Puck doing a good job of holding onto top lane.
Well, they'll cut that wave again. I mean, it's always unfortunate when this is what you're sort of resorting to, is just cutting waves before they can get to the tower. But at the same time, you got to do it to slow down the game whenever possible.
Good news, a kind of slow, low-action game, and you get a Philosopher's Stone, so Dire Side will be happy about that one. A game like this, Philosopher's... Oh, top lane, they've caught Puck.
Yeah, that's a problem. And Snaking just finishes him off. It was always going to happen.
Exactly. They've just been baiting. DNM's caught him without the orb a few times. This was just the first time he had Snaking there ready to go, so... Heads up play by Sadboys.
Here again, farming in the safer places in the map. Gonna head on up towards the top and actually just head into Roche. Interesting. With the Flesh Golem, they're gonna decide that this is the time to try and go in on it.
Yeah. Why not, I guess? They've got the minus armor from Gush and Acid. They've got the damage amp. It does look like this is going to be an uncontested Roche. Puck has respawned with Boot to Travel, but they seem to not even be worried about that one. They even dropped down the Tombstone to make sure this goes smoothly.
Yeah. I realize there's just no way to contest that one. So Fear now has an Aegis here at the 18-minute mark. And, I mean, killing this guy twice just feels like a ridiculously hard thing to do. I am a little bit concerned that we're seeing like double blink daggers coming out from RRL and the Mars. Like on the one hand, yeah, you can jump on people, but I feel like they're going to be knocking on high ground pretty much, and blink doesn't help that much at that point.
Yeah, I know PPD talked about in one of the casts where it's just like, Blink's kind of this double-edged sword where you invest a lot of gold in this item that, in an actual fight, it doesn't actually make you stronger or do a whole lot. I mean, it lets you initiate, so theoretically if you can get a kill off of it, but in the actual fight it doesn't make you stronger.
Right.
So
I guess maybe finding the back line or something. Oh no, Snaking. Got him again.
Follow up, yep.
Oh,
Found the strike there too. It's good.
They tried it. It would have been good if he could have lived a second longer, but it didn't happen. And now Magnetized Arena dropped down, but Sadboys will not be denied. Oof, man.
At least BKB on the Monkey King, that's his 10-second being popped, but Sadboys with full control of this top lane. It was just the one kill, so Sadboys committing a lot, but when it's the Jug, it's the one hope for a comeback. That's why they don't mind committing all those ultimates and BKBs. They're going to get a tier 2 tower. Doesn't look like they'll get the outpost in time, and 5ManMidas doing what they can to snag a few bounty runes.
Gets a courier kill on its way out, too. Not bad, not bad. And as you said, being able to hang on to that outpost, trying to hang on to something in this game. I mean, it's a huge net worth lead. Maybe you could string together a couple of kills as Sadboys spread out and get a little bit complacent. Like, that's maybe where the blink daggers could be good too, is you like find maybe a random Snake King running around somewhere, blow him up.
Yeah, I think they recognize they can't team fight, which is why blinks sometimes don't help you team fight because they don't make you stronger, but they are very good at finding pickoffs around the map. So they're going to be looking to kill stragglers, you mentioned Snake King. Any kills they can get, they want to slow down the push by basically fighting and picking off people who are not with the ball that is pushing down these lanes, the mid lane, the top lane. They want to just catch stragglers.
And cutways, as we just saw there from Puck, pulling the whole catapult out of the area. And Monster, in the meantime, down bottom, he's got some pretty good damage onto this tier 2 tower. So I guess this is the thing to me that I like about 5ManMidas, is that even though they're like really far behind, you can tell that they know what they need to do in this situation.
Yeah, they understand the position they're in. It's a very desperate one, and it feels, not totally hopeless, but very hard for them to get back into this game. But they're making the right calls. Now they go for a group smoke. They're going to find one of those stragglers. It's PPD on the Undying.
Yeah, and this is an important kill here. Any kill is important at this point. Most reasonably, because Aikster now gets some Spirit Vessel charges.
True. Yeah, you're playing against this Alchemist who doesn't have a BKB or anything. Get the Spirit Vessel charges. Buy time for this Aegis to expire. You're definitely not winning any fight into a Alch with 2 lives. So they just want to stall out this game, by the time PPD respawns, this Aegis is only going to have like a minute and a half left on it. So at that point, you're like, okay, they got an Aegis, but they didn't ever really threaten our high ground. We're still alive. That's what counts for 5Midas. Staying alive in this game and waiting for a mistake or just somebody kind of step out of position.
Yeah. And, punish that as hard as you can when you get that opportunity. A smoke up comes now from Sadboys. This is also going to be an Aghanim Shard delivered to the Alk right as they move in. So now he's got like this double dispel action going on. He can use on himself or an ally. And, well, they find the Jug right at the start. That one really hurts, but trying to turn this around, it's not going to happen. Monster not able to save his carry, and Fear with the double kill. He is online.
Yeah, Monster blinked in with the arena, but he blinked into a stun as well, which was unlucky for him. And now, still 50 seconds left on this Aegis. That was kind of the one small window for Sadboys to still make a go with the Aegis, and 5ManMidas were just playing too aggressive on the map. They've been doing everything kind of the correct way, I feel like, up until then, while playing from behind. But getting caught out is going to give a easy high ground push to Sadboys. I believe they'll get at least a tier 3 tower here if they want to commit to it with Fierce double lives. But they are going to back off and play it safe. Okay. Yeah.
And now the outposts as well. So with everybody respawning, I mean, yeah, it sucks to lose your Jug, but at the same time, like getting some objectives around the rest of the map, it's not terrible.
Yeah, it feels like Sadboys are playing maybe slightly too conservatively, but at the same time, I think this is a good sign that, they're kind of honed in today. They're not taking any opponent too lightly. They're really respecting 5ManMidas, not trying to force a high ground push. Happy to kind of slow roll this game, not go for any kind of, let's just dive enemy base and force a fight and try and take a Rax. Let's just back off, play for even later game. We're so far ahead that we're not in a rush to end this game.
All right. Yeah, just play it safe, definitely. And I mean, at least for now, if you're 5ManMidas, there's an opportunity where Alk doesn't have Aegis. He is getting towards that heart. And 3,000 HP, man. He is a tough cookie to crack. That's going to be a rough one. They really need some minus armor to work with him. Because, I mean, the plus side is that Alk going this build, he doesn't actually have that much armor. Only 9.
Yeah, like you often see the Assault Crest picked up in there, but yeah, he is going for that full-on health regen build. We'll need a way to deal with the Spirit Vessel, it feels.
Right. And that is where, I think the Aghanim Shard can help with it, but if you're silenced, that doesn't help. Aegster, Hexed, chase down, try to turn it. Okay, stun. He's coming out of it immediately, though. Stabs distance is pretty freaking good. Monster gonna get hit there by the Abyssal Blade, and Fear just laying into them. His shoe, ooh, barely able to get out of that one.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised Monster's first reaction to his Earth Spirit being jumped is, I'm going to blink in an arena. I feel like if you're a 5ManMidas, your mentality has to be right now, avoid any team fight. Avoid any team fight. And the second the smoke breaks and they jump them, it should just be, your first reaction has to be, everybody get out. If you can live, just live. And I think Monster, he just blinks into the trees and TPs out there and you're fine. They just need to cut their losses. There was no hope of any kind of a team fight there. And I think that's where some of the inexperience is shown with 5ManMidas. I think, even the best teams in the world, your Team Secrets, your EGs, whoever it may be, they have these games where they're down 10, 15k gold, it feels hopeless, and they maybe claw their way back in. The way you do that is by making the right call in every situation, and right there, some of Monster's inexperience is showing.
It's like poker, right? Like, you go all in when you got aces, not when you're, sitting with offsuit something terrible.
Yeah, that's perfect, actually, yeah.
Okay, I'm with you. Find your right hand and then play it the best you can.
Exactly. They're just going to keep folding until they, those aces come along right now. But at this point, they're running out of chips and they may just have to go in without aces,
Yeah, it's true.
RL. Get a face card and all in.
He's got Witch's Blade. I mean, there's like some little things that feel like they, are extra damage, can deal with everybody except for the Alk. And so maybe there's like a point where you could go and just, try and focus down the rest of him and let Fear do what he's going to do. But it's going to be a tough one.
Well, I think they feel like they're ready. It's not less about the Aegis timing for Sadboys and more about this Heart plus SMY timing, it seems. We saw this last time I think they played Alchemist. They get this Heart plus SMY and Fear's just unkillable on the high ground. 250 health regen per second.
Right next to him is just Moo doing the exact same thing. Not at all concerned as they take down these wards one by one. How do you initiate on this? With the Tombstone dead maybe in a second here, that could help. And they're summoning more of the wards. There are a lot of Plague Wards out there. RL, Arena, drop down, able to get that stun. Meanwhile, the Venom ulti didn't connect onto everybody that they wanted. Omni Slash blows up PPD, then the spin away afterwards. And wow, they break the TP. Oh, big Ravage comes through there at the end. They thought they could salvage something. We haven't seen one in a while, but it's enough to take the fights. 2 dead, but more importantly, whole set of racks gone.
It's funny you mention that. It's like there hasn't been a Ravage so long. I felt like 5ManMidas like, yeah, we got him. The Chemical Rage is down. Let's take a fight. But yeah, then you remember, oh wait, there's all these other heroes that, you know, whether it's DNM's Monkey King or Moose Tide, who have just been silently doing their job, but not really taking fights because no fights have come. And Sadboys more than happy to oblige 5ManMidas if they finally choose to take a fight.
Dire's middle tower.
This lead just continues to grow. 15,000, almost all of that is on Fear, who now just found another hero to blow up. It's going to be DNM that takes the final kill, but really hard to do anything to this Alchemist at this point. It's got Titan Sliver. I mean, I think that you've got to be like prepped for this Alch pick now. It feels like it's not even sort of a... I feel like it's going to start to become like less and less niche, where we're going to see it more and more often because it just looks good.
Yeah, and Fear seems to be doing the same build every time, so he has a very clear idea of how to play the hero that, from what we've seen, has worked kind of every time. I think I'd be curious to see how it looks in a game that feels a bit more even, because I think the strength of this Alch build is that when you're ahead, and it gives you basically a surefire way to break high ground. Like, there was 0 risk when Fear is pushing high ground with Chemical Rage and these items because of all the health regen. But, you know, in a scenario where the other team is not that far behind, and let's say Jug was more farmed, I think you can threaten to kill this out when he doesn't have BKB.
It's fair. Yeah. And I think that, you know, there's, well, another smoke up now as they're heading over towards the Roche pit. Maybe one last hurrah.
Monster,
the
unlucky.
blink away. And the Tombstone's down now. Gotta run away. Tries to back out. Veno ulti goes out onto 3, but it's just tickling them at this point. They do find Snaking. That's gonna be 1 kill. Inside that Monkey King ulti. Nobody is really wanting to go in there from 5ManMidas. Zakester tries to run away from them. Another jump in coming from RL. Lies nearby as well. They do have Omni Slash, but Moo also has Ravage back up in 9. Monster getting chased around. They're trying to go in and sneak roast themselves now. There's no way. Yeah, they're going to kill Monster here. Unless the rest of the team can get there in time.
Can they kill Fear here?
This would be huge. Omni Slash solo onto him, trying to spin him down. Fear is going to drop. Oh my god, they got Fear.
Wow. So they lose Monster. The Sadboys team was chasing Monster, and while that's going on, Fear is just kind of... I think he was worried about them sneaking into Roshan, like you said, but he was completely on his own, and Jug just slices him up. That's the thing. This Alch is not unkillable.
Right. Oh, gotta be careful here. They're getting a little bit antsy on the side of Sadboys, but Snaking has that Lotus Orb from on high, keeps them safe. They do have Ravage available, gonna throw it out in the Finger of Death, and they just gave RL the treatment.
Yeah. Totally fine. It's, you know, you're not looking to fight right now without deads, and they're probably... Oh, I guess it may come to bite them in the ass if... I mean, I don't think Dire side can Roche even with Ravage down, so it just means Sadboys are gonna have to wait for Ravage before they probably go for a Roche play.
Right.
But, yeah, very, good move from 5ManMidas to contest that Roche, find the Alch isolated, and we'll see if they can come to Roche a second time to contest it, because right now Sadboys are trying to set themselves up to grab that one by taking the enemy outpost.
And, you know, I can't help but think, like, how different this might have gone if Fear had like, that plate mail first instead of the Hyperstone, you know? Like, that Omni Slash maybe doesn't do quite enough damage to take him out or something along those lines. It's the one avenue that I feel like they've got on 5ManMidas is this, like, very slim window. They did just also find an Orb of Destruction as Moo chases in. And they take the Aegis. Now looking to chase this down. Shu Puck's in trouble. Puck's gonna get the blink away as well, or the jaunt away rather. They're gonna have to reset.
Yeah, now we'll see Sadboys probably rinse repeat what we saw bottom, which is the Fear high ground sieging Alchemist with the Chemical Rage. They give the Aegis to DNM, and Fear's kind of slot limited is really the main problem here. And also, you know, theoretically, if he has his teammates with him and they're sieging high ground, I think he is unkillable. It's just scenarios where he's isolated that they do have the damage to bring him down.
Right. Snaking. Oh my god. Glimmer Cape keeps him alive for a moment. Force Staff tries to back away. Invis, not gonna happen. Roll in afterwards, in a bit too far. Now Omni Slash, you solo onto Snaking. That is a lot of resources expended.
Yeah, didn't find any bounce targets nearby, unfortunately. So now, possible window. Ravage is up in 10 seconds time, so...
Almost gonna have that Swift Blink dung on Lies, and then has the Rapier queued up next, which feels like it is the main avenue, but will he be able to get there? Can he get the farm in time? Sort of a different story.
Move with the Ag Shard Tide. Get some Anchor Smash on the buildings.
Okay.
You know, he's high ground sieging with Fear, so he's just gonna be able to chuck those Anchor Smashes out.
Swift Blink, done now. 90 seconds still until Omni, though. This is an impossible hold. Like, how do you even fight this? Spear gonna connect onto the Tide, but they still have that Ravage. Arena's back up in 15. The Witch's Blade, and then, you know, Chrysalis is nice to get the deny on the Rax. Well done.
We saw that last week. Then they got the double Rax deny. These guys love denying their own Rax. You know, I'm disappointed. I thought I was like, oh yeah, let's see this Anchor Smash on the tower, and then he just didn't use Anchor Smash. I was like, Moo, you get the Axe Shard, use the Anchor Smash, man. Come on.
Yeah. It gives him 90 extra damage too, reduces the cooldown.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool, but yeah, I agree. Oh no. Oh, the heck, that can't happen. Ravage, every damn thing dropped on him, and no buyback. And I think that oh, what a frustrating way, I'm sure, to lose the game right there if that's how it ends up happening. Granted, it didn't all come down to that, but it's looking like the last set of racks most likely right here. Spear just walks in, and man, he's got the cheese in his backpack afterwards. He's ready to go.
Maybe we'll get to see them deny another Rax or two.
There's a hope. A dream.
That's not a good stat to lose.
Yeah, well, roll in, can't get the kickback afterwards to break the coil. They will blow up Eister, and now taking the racks as well. GG is the call, as Sadboys take game number 1 off the back of a really strong Alchemist pick and play by Fear, and overall just a solid performance by them.
Yeah, very convincing stuff, and I think this is a good sign for Sadboys that they can just show up, play some very solid mechanical Dota, very methodical, strategically very sound. It looked like a PPD team where the discipline is there. They're not looking to rush games. It reminds me so much of the old EG, where they'd often have these games where there's kind of low kills, but you can tell it's basically a stomp. Even with the kill score for the first 15, 20 minutes, it was like 9 to 6 kills for like 20 minutes in. It really wasn't very one-sided despite the kill score.
Right, and I think that, you know, it's showing, like, if you get that outdraft, they're going to play it cleanly. But I don't think that they're necessarily guaranteed to be winning the game that handedly every time. Like, to me, that feels like it's a PPD thing, right? Like, top-tier captain just recognizes weakness in the draft, exploit it as much as they can. But I felt like there's some potential here for 5Midas. If they're able to get out of the drafting phase equal, I would be curious to see what that game looks like, because it feels like there's maybe more of a chance there.
For sure, yeah. I think hopefully they can look at these drafts, see where, you know, some of the mispicks happened or where they got caught by surprise, because they're a team that's meant to have a better laning stage. That's their strength, and we just didn't get to see it in this game.
True enough. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have the panel break down all the action, and then game number 2 continuing on after that. But for now, let's head to a quick break.
Welcome back to North American DPC action here. Our very first game of this Thursday has concluded with Sadboys coming out on top. They take down 5ManMidas in this best of 3. I'm back on panel with Sunsfan and Jenkins. Gentlemen, Sadboys, as expected, clear out a win. Pretty clean fashion. A couple of hiccups along the way, but Fear's Alchemist really hits it home. Sunsfan, what do you think? Are we about to be on the brink of a new Alch meta? This is just the 4th pick in NADPC, but I mean, when you look at stuff like the Pro Tracker, Alchemist is firing up nonstop, and a lot in North America. I mean, looking at the list, you got Tomato, you got Arteezy flooding it, Fear's in there a couple of times. The practice is out. People are murmuring that it's happening in scrims. Is this something that teams need to be prepared for?
Yes. Sorry.
Excellent.
Am I the only one that loves Alchemist? I've always loved this hero, and it's probably just because of my obsession with Aghanim Scepters. Although
You're
the
like
sad
one
thing is
of
he doesn't
three.
end up buying them for anybody, right? That's I'm kind of hoping like this position 3 I've been hearing about ends up coming to actually be, because then it makes sense to go for Aghanim Scepters, especially with like the whole refund mechanic they have going on now. But
Position 3 Alch? Who's doing that? Who'd you hear that from?
Somebody. Anyway, for this specific game, it was just it was pretty clinical. You could call it somewhat methodical for an Alchemist game. It's just the lead just kept getting extended as time went on. Mid lane, DNM absolutely owned. Getting that first blood under the puck was pretty huge. And I really like the way the DNM plays. It feels like he's a very aggressive player. He has a pretty wide hero pool. So hoping that, I mean, he's 17 years old or something like that. So really cool to see this new blood onto the scene. But I don't know. I know that the whole game is not boiling down to this one thing. I want your guys' opinion on something. But like the whole puck, first pick puck, right? Have we seen a game in this tournament where it's a support puck that you can remember?
I don't think so.
Because
it's almost
a few months
always
ago-
mid.
Puck
Right.
has...
So a few months ago, it was picked as support. I don't know how long it's been, like 6 months maybe. It was picked as support a lot, right? I don't know exactly what has changed, but I will say this: when you're a team that is, I think, objectively in a different skill category than Sadboys in terms of just raw skill from like the individual aspect, right? I feel like you have to. I don't like to use the word cheese because it feels like, I don't know, it feels like a cheap way to win, but you need to surprise them in some fashion. And I feel like we've talked about flex picks and whatnot, like Puck as a first pick becoming support after they've already picked a Lion to counter you. I feel like that's an avenue you can go down. You need to like make these huge surprise picks.
Yeah.
Or surprise flips into the draft to have a better chance in these games, I feel like.
In Europe, we see all the time Puck being played as a position 5. I actually just watched Kezu's guide on Puck. He just released this video, and he was saying how like Puck as a 5 is actually quite nice because you can sit there and trade with the position 4, and like they have to hit you, right? Because like that's what supports do. They battle out in the trees, but then you can orb over to the pull camp. But the enemy support can't do that, so you can actually get free pulls off that way. So yeah, I think like if optimized, if your pause 5 has played the hero and knows how to play it, it's good. It just seems like NA teams, they just really think Puck mid is OP, or they're like our 5s can't play it for whatever reason. And we need to practice, because I agree, like the flex, it's got to happen. That Lion, he completely nullified the Puck's existence. We saw this Puck like trying to sit in the top lane with the Boots of Travel, right? Which is very typical for this Puck hero. But then Lion just comes out with the Hex, and like, you can't do that. So what do you do as Puck? Do you jungle? Like, what are you going to do? Lion can always be there, right? So it's a pain in the ass to deal with, and flexing does seem like a good answer.
Like, the Lion pick was like, if you're going to get farmed, we kind of talked about this pre-draft or during the draft itself. If you're going to get farmed on him, you can kill a lot of heroes, right? And Juggernaut is another one of those. He really wants to get off spin. If he was able to get off spin a couple of those times, he definitely would have lived. But there's just so much lockdown in conjunction to the ridiculous amount of shit that Lion has to deal with like Monkey King coming from the trees and whatnot. So, I don't want to boil it down to just being pick related, because obviously there's a skill discrepancy. But I just feel like making these huge changes in the draft that can surprise the opponent, that should be your entire objective when you're probably not at the same level.
I agree. I mean, I think it even goes beyond cheese. I think you're right. I think it's even these like OGs and these big teams will do like what would be considered, you know, cheese if it was a lower team versus like an upper echelon team. But it's OG, so it's not cheese. It's like, oh, this is just a good hero. But teams look to surprise each other now. That's how it's been in competitive Dota for years. So I do agree. I think you need to flex a little bit more.
All right, we'll see if 5ManMidas will sell their stock of Puck or get flexible. Maybe look to cash in on the new Alk rise coming in. But whatever the case may be, we need to head to a fast break. When we return, it's Game 2 of Sadboys versus 5ManMidas.